everybody, it's Brooke, up close and personal. I hope you're having a great day. I have decided to finish working or continue working on my project for the Inspired to Create _2023 prompt that's being hosted by AJ's Inspired Life, and that's my friend Allison, and Messy Missy Creates, that's Melissa. I will link them both down below, and hopefully you jump on to work with their prompts too. They're super easy, no stress. They leave so many openings for you to decide what you want to do. They're, I think, intended to be geared towards your journal, but I had wanted to make a fabric flip for my journal, so I decided to do the first prompt with fabric. So the word was love, and you're supposed to use it like an acrostic. You can use the word love and do, just that, or you can break it down. And I chose layers for L, oblong for O, V was vintage, and E was edging. So I do have a video where I laid this out and kind of picked out some stuff. And if I remember to, I will also link that one down below. So this is what I have so far. I've never tried being zoomed in quite this close. I'm hoping you can see okay. This will be my edging at the bottom. This is zoomed in really close. This is going to be my edging at the bottom. Some sparkly blue trim, but that will be absolutely the last thing I do because it gets in the way. So there's that. That's my edging. And this doesn't look that blue on camera, but it's a pale blue with some darker blues in it that really go well with this flower. So let's move that for now. And I'll pull this back down. I've done a few things, not much. I did this one little petal here with some seed stitch, and I'm going to do another one over here somewhere. And then, let's see. That actually is a good point because somebody asked me about my pen. The pen I use to mark on fabric, sorry, I had to roll over there to get it. The pen I use to mark on fabric is a Friction. This one doesn't say it. Oh, yes, it does on the cap. Pilot Friction Erasable. Where's the camera? There it is. Frixion. They come in a bunch of different colors, and they do have an eraser on them. However, you can also erase them with heat. So I would probably come over here and do maybe another shape kind of like that. So I just drew it in like that and filled it in with a bunch of little tiny random straight stitches. But watch this. Let me get my heat tool. Sorry for the noise. Boom, it's gone. Oh, that little piece needs to go. Some people have said that they have experienced it coming back. I've used it for quite some time, and I never have. I've used the black ones, I've used the blue ones. This one's a hot pink one. I think that they're awesome. So you can draw a line that you can see very clearly, which I like. So anyway, I'll do that later. I want to work up at the top here. So I took my 4 layers of fabric, 3 cottons, and then this beautiful vintage tablecloth. This was my V for vintage. And all I did was stack them on top of each other and do a running stitch across the top. I did 2 rows of a running stitch to hold my fabric flip together. And I thought what I would do is start out with this piece of lace that I have pinned down. See if you can see that. White on white I know is hard. But it was just a really crooked scrap that I had lying on my desk. So I took it and twisted it and just pinned it into place. And I think what I will do is use just random invisible stitches, which means a little stitch on top and then a longer stitch in the back to travel. And because it's white on white, it will tack that lace down and you won't really be able to see it at all. I'm using a beautiful white vintage French cotton thread that's single-stranded. It's absolutely gorgeous. You could also use just plain old sewing thread. So a little stitch on the top, and then a great long, well, not that long, but I mean a traveling stitch on the back. So you're just catching the lace in various places. And I think I want to add some sequins and beads because, honestly, who doesn't need sequins and beads in their life? I did go ahead and pre-thread some needles so you wouldn't have to watch me on that struggle bus. Again, so easy when you're alone, so hard when you're on camera. So I just pulled one of those pins out and see my lace is sitting there nicely. Do another stitch here. And I do have it twisted some, just to add some more texture. And again, I realize you can't see it all that well on camera, but I'll take pictures at the end. Get that one down, and I think I would like to put a sequin right in here, so let's do that. I've got these beautiful blue flower sequins, so let's pull out a light blue one. I am using my wool mat, which I love. If you're using round beads, it will help keeping them from trying to escape, and you can put your needles into it, and it just is wonderful. You can iron on it. I will link that down below as well in case you're interested. If you do any stitching, it really is a good investment, I think. It's quite helpful. Alright, so I've got a stitch through to the top. I'm going to pick up my sequin, and this sequin does have a slight cup to it. It's cupped like that way, and I'm making sure that cup is facing upwards. And I'm so sorry about my hands. I know they look terrible. And there's just not a thing I can do about it. Okay, then I'm going to pick up this little hex bead and go right back through the center of my sequin, and that will anchor it in place. Oh, I like that color. Let's put one more over here. I should have started earlier. Should have started earlier so we can have more. And yep, I moved the camera again, so I'm creeping off screen. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Let's put some colors out here. Oh, those are all the same. We'll be that way. We'll use this one. Try to, anyway. And then all go popping off. There we go. Thread that through. Find my little clear beads. There they are. Didn't put those in a very good place, did I? And that will go right in the center again. Oop, blind you with sequins. Very sparkly and fun. So in addition to being sparkly and fun, they're helping hold that lace in place. Say that 10 times fast. Let me move these out of the way. That was not very good placement, was it? And there's some darker flowers in here, I thought. Well, there's a lighter one. No, this one's darker. Okay. Okay, we're in business. So I think I will go for a darker one now. Is that the color we already used? Hard to tell. Oh, look at that. You gotta come back up through the fabric before you can put your sequin on. So I'm just doing a little bit of an invisible stitch and traveling on the back to get back over to where we wanted to be. And I want to hold this piece of lace down because it's twisted right there. I think I'll take this pin out. And what did we say? Oh, maybe a medium one. Get that threaded through. Get our little bead put on. I never do a slow stitch project, I don't think, that without sequins and sparkles. I'm just that way. I'm like a magpie. Okay, and then go from the back and do another couple invisible stitches. I don't want the lace down entirely. I don't want it to be flat. I want the dimension to be showing still. So I'm not going all over it. Come up here. Little tiny stitch. Pull out our pin. Oops, that little piece of lace popped up, so I guess that's where our next sequin's gonna go, huh? Do another light one. And get another little clear one. Thread those down to the bottom. There we go. Go in through our sequin, make sure it's sitting where we want it, and then pull it all through. Oh, almost unthreaded myself. Oh, heavens. Okay, now we'll take a couple more little invisible stitch. Oh, I did unthread myself. Well, we get to play that fun game. Can she rethread the needle on camera? Maybe. The needle I'm using has such a tiny eye, I can't use my needle threader. So I'll just have to sit here and poke at it and do my best. I got it in one when the camera wasn't on. Funny how that happens, huh? There we go. Well, that wasn't too excruciating, I hope. Oh, I also had someone ask how to use the needle threaders that were in the slow stitch kits that I made. I will show you that before we're done today. I use mine all the time. Actually, I need to replace mine because I've bent it a little bit through vigorous use. The thread is tangling on this flower that's cut out from another piece of paper. That's what's going to be happening down at the bottom with that beaded trim. I don't know if I will put that on camera because it's going to be crazy. Crazy town. But I will explain to you how I'm going to do it. Very simple. Alright. Those are not very evenly spaced, but I'm okay with that. Let's put another one right up in here. Okay, so just come straight up. Pick one up. Got two more little hexy beads. Oop, both of them tried to jump on the needle, those rascals. Gosh, yeah, my color choices were not brilliant, were they? Hopefully you can see a little bit. Okay, get that where I want it. Got a twist right up in there as well. Oh, I think I want that down a little bit towards the other flower. Oh, I like those a lot. Yep, they make me happy. So another couple, they're just plain old straight stitches. Small on the top, larger on the bottom to get you where you want to go. And hold this lace down. You could use French knots in the center of the sequins as well, or bigger beads. You can do whatever you want. That is my stomach growling. I'm really hoping you can't hear it. Jeepers creepers. Must be almost dinner time. Okay. So we're getting up here. The lace does go a little further back, but this flower is going to hold it in place. And I think I have enough white thread left to actually tack that flower down. I think I like the flowers just like that. Let's take off this little bit of lace on the side. Even it up a little bit. Oop, thread stuck to my scissors. Yep, I like that a lot. And then we have a little bit of a break, and then we'll segue into this beautiful flower and the leaves that I cut out of a vintage piece that I had. And then this is just a little antique lace flower. Can you see? And then you can see the sequins a little better. And the texture of the lace. I like that a lot. So why don't we go ahead and keep using this lace, or this is not lace, this is thread, to tack down our little flower here. I think first I'm going to put my sequins away, because you guys know I will knock it over and the box is kind of full. That would be a mess. So we'll just move those out of the way. There we go. I feel more secure now, for sure. Now, do I want that leaf? I think I want this leaf behind the flower. Come on, flower. Come on, leaf. Everyone cooperate. There we go. So I'm going to use, again, little tiny straight stitches. Or stab stitches, technically, I guess. I'm going to go inside the flower. See if you can see. And then with a tiny little stitch, go back off the flower, so it's holding it down. I'll keep going around this way a little bit. Don't have to be thousands of them because the flower is pretty small. Just want to keep it from falling off. Next time I do one of these, maybe I should try it on my phone. Maybe that should be my big phone experiment, because it might go in better. It might zoom in better. Okay, so that just caught our leaf on the left, so that'll help hold it down. And I'm making these stitches small enough you can barely see them. But it will keep our little, it will keep our little beige flower from falling off. And I thought I would do some thread painting on the flower itself. And thread painting is where you just take however many strands of thread that you want, either like a stranded cotton, or you could use ribbon, you could use pearl cotton, whatever you want to do. And the way I do it is I just pick colors that are complementary, similar to the item that I'm going to thread paint. And I just do various long and short stitches. So maybe we'll start that and do some together. I think, where am I? I'm lost. In retrospect, it would have made more sense to do each layer individually before I sewed them together, I gotta tell you. There must have been some reason I didn't, but I'm not sure what it was. There we go. And I think we are safe to take this pin out now. It's always good to get one out. Less chance of stabbing yourself. Okay, so this is tacking down the end of that lace as well that's underneath the flower. So multi-purpose. And the back of my flip obviously will show in my journal when I flip the page, but I'm okay with that. I think the back is interesting. A little more texture, and I think it's fine. So look at that. We got our little flower down all the way. Ooh, maybe we need one more stitch right there. Yep, we do. One more. Get in there, you. And if you guys have been around for a while, you know I love some slow stitching. I haven't done a ton lately just because it's like craft overload. Do you guys get that? You want to do all the things and can't decide what, and then end up not being able to do anything. Yeah. So I'm just going to tie this off, and I'll hold it up so you can see it a little better. And then I can just take this needle and stick it in my wool mat, and it will not go anywhere or fall on the floor. So there we go. Can you tell that you can't even see the stitches where we put the beige flower down, and it's holding our little leaves. And there are sequins and our lace bundle going. So we'll do a little lace painting maybe, but first I'm going to do some cross stitches on this beautiful vintage gingham. And I'm sure, well, I'm not sure at all. I'm not sure of anything. But perhaps you did cross-stitching in the 80s and 90s, like a lot of us, on cross-stitch fabric, Ada fabric. This is not, but the gingham gives a perfect grid if you want to do some cross stitches on it. So the way that I do it, you could certainly, if you're not using a gingham, you could use a ruler and your handy friction pen and draw 2 parallel lines, so that you could make sure that your crosses are the same height and straight if you want. It's not a requisite at all. I sometimes like to do just rando ones. So the way I do a cross stitch is I'm using the little squares, and I'm not going to attach them. They're going to be individual. So I'm going to go from there to the upper right-hand corner, bottom left-hand corner. Again, yellow on yellow. Huh! Probably should have used different fabric to show you these, huh? So you could see a little better. Okay. And I just keep going, and I go all one direction first, and then come back the other way. That gives your stitches some continuity if they're all crossed the same way. Again, not necessary, not requisite. If you were going to the state fair to have your stitching judged, yeah, it would be requisite. If you're just doing this to relax, you make a little cross however you want. This is how I do it, is all. So I keep going. I'll stop here because I think you probably have the idea there. And then I come up through the bottom right-hand corner. Oop, this fabric is so thin, it's really easy to pull it too tight. Make sure when you're holding your stuff in your hands that you are not pulling too tight. Whoop, I'm creeping upwards. Okay, so I go down in the top left, and I come back up in the bottom right. You can do it in a stabbing motion if you prefer. Ow, speaking of stabbing, I just stabbed myself. But I kind of like to do a little bit of a running motion. So the upper left, back down to the lower right. Then straighten out my fabric a little bit, trying to keep my tension straight. I don't use an embroidery hoop. Usually I don't have a problem at all, unless the fabric is this thin. But I'm not going to do a ton, so I'm not going to worry about it. And the areas are so small, the embroidery hoop would be more trouble than it's worth, I think. Okay, so you've got it going again. Upper left. Oop. And bottom right. And I'm going to go ahead and, well, I'll tie it off. But look at that. You get a pretty neat and uniform row of cross stitches. Pretty. And it looks cool on the back as well. So I will go ahead and take this and tie off. I'll finish that row later. Oh, gee. So now we have some pretty yellow cross stitches, which add, I think, a beautiful texture. And I don't know what I just did to that knot. That was overkill. Okay, so we'll get rid of that dude. Another thing that I started was doing some French knots down here on this beautiful blue and green fabric. Ooh, look, it's fraying more, yay. So I've got just some scattered French knots down along the bottom. So I thought we'd go over some French knots since we haven't done any stitching together recently. And I apparently got more enthusiastic on this end because they're way closer together, so we can throw some in over here. Get back where you can see me. Okay, so you come up from the back of the fabric, and I'm using a pearl cotton. I think this is a size 8. No, it's a size 5, I'm sorry. Size 5 pearl cotton in this beautiful springy green. So you come up through your fabric, and what I do, and this is where, another place where your mat may come in handy. You, oh, come on you. If you're right-handed, your needle's in your right hand, hold the thread tightly, wrap it around once or twice, whatever you want to do. Put your needle back in, not in the same hole, but close. And then you can use your mat to hold your needle. Okay, you want to pull your thread tight. That's how you get a not loopy French knot. And I know that a lot of people, that's their big complaint, is their French knots get loopy. And loopy ones have their place too, they're fun. But if you're looking for a small, tight French knot, that's how you get it. If you don't have a wool mat to poke into, just come up through the fabric, go around the needle once or twice or 3 times, depends on the size of the knot you want. Go back in, not directly into it, but close. Then what I do is I catch that loop with my thumb and pull it tight as I'm pulling the thread through. And let it out slowly, make sure you've got it in there tight, and boom, you'll get a perfect French knot every time. They're not scary at all, I promise. We'll do one more. Oops, I'm gonna set it down. It really is easier with the mat. And my thread is getting a little short. I do not use my thread up to the very last 1/8 of an inch. I find it more trouble than it's worth, and that much thread, I'm okay with throwing it away. Well, I don't throw it away, actually. I keep a little glass jar. I'm not sure where it is at the moment, but I put all my little ends in there all through the year, and then in the springtime, I throw them out for the birdies to put in their nest. So it's really recycled. Okay, so wrap around, back into the fabric, close to where you came out, but not directly in the same place. Pick it up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get my finger in there, pull it tight, and keep pulling it as you're pulling the thread through. And there you go. A nice, tidy French knot. Again, green on green. Next time I'll make a mental note. We'll do different colors on like a white background. So that is a French knot. And those are super fun. You can cluster them all together to make little flowers. You can do a line of them. You could use them inside of sequins to hold them in place. Lots of uses for a French knot. But it also just makes a pretty texture. And there were polka dots in the back of the fabric. See the little blue polka dots? So it's sort of mimicking the blue polka dots. Still a little uneven, so I'll probably go in and put some more in. But my thread was starting to annoy me, so enough of that nonsense. Okay, so there we go. We got those done. Oh no, what did I do? You guys, look, when I pulled... Oh, there we go. I just pulled the knot. Funny. There are cross stitches. Back in order. Alright, let's pull this back down. Guess we could do a little bit of the thread painting. I do not have a blue threaded, so we'll have to do that again. Oh, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, let me show you how I use my needle threader. These also came in the slow stitch kit, and this is what they look like. So they've got a little hook on one end and a bigger hook on the other end. I'll find a bigger needle, a needle with a bigger eye to show you how to do this. Let's use our green thread here. The little end is the one I use the most, and it's pretty easy to catch it and twist it. And I keep twisting it back with my handy dandy pliers, but I think it's about to break off because I've done it so many times. So all you do is take your needle threader and put that hook through the eye of your needle. Take your thread, hook it on that hook. Can you see that? And then just pull it through. And poof, your needle's threaded. Simple as that. Oh, I've got a knot in there, so it's not going to go all the way through. But I think you got the idea. Had there not been a knot right there, I would just pull it and the needle would be threaded. So those are a good, like, $2 investment, I think. Get those out of the way. Grab this, and we'll do, maybe we'll start right in here in the center. I'm going to do the thread painting first and then decide whether or not I want to sew the edges down. I might want to leave them loose so that they fray a little bit over time, because I like that. We shall take it under advisement. will use two strands, or maybe three. Oh, we got two. That's what we're going to use. Okay, so let's see if we have good luck threading again. Fingers crossed. I need to find a lighter blue. I've got these two, obviously, but I need one that's closer to white. I'm sure I have one. Alrighty, let's see if we can get in there. Come on. Yay. Yay me! Unthreaded it. Seventh time is the charm. Okay, and I'll make a little quilter's knot at the end. To do that, you bring your needle up this way, hold your thread around, down the base of the needle, wrap around, I don't know, however many times looks appropriate. I did like 5, I think. Push your needle through, hold the knot in your fingers, and boom, there you go. You've got a knot. Okay, so to do this, don't want to sew through all our layers, I'm just going to start over here near the edge. Try to line those edges up. Ooh, way up again. And I'm just going to make some straight satiny sort of stitches. Following the design, or not following the design, depending on how I feel. I might have done too good a job matching the thread color. You can't really tell that it's doing anything until you get it built up a lot, so that you get a really cool, almost like painted texture. But you just keep going. You can put them further apart if you like. Whatever looks good to your eye. Much like journal making, there are no rules in slow stitching. It is anything goes. Whatever you find appealing and relaxing, that's what you should do. So I'm making the stitches different lengths. Don't you try to unthread now. Unacceptable. And I'll just keep going. This fabric's a little thick. Little thick, fighting back a little bit. So let's see. Can you guys see the texture difference there where the stitches are? I think you can. So maybe what I'll do, we have been going for 30 minutes plus. Maybe what I will do is come back and do a part 2, or just finish it up and take pictures for you. Tell me down in the comments what you would prefer. I'm going to finish up the thread painting here, do it on the little leaves, and finish our cross stitches, and then I'm going to put on our trim. And I think the way I'm going to put it on is to do a whipped running stitch right across the bottom with some silk ribbon. So tell me down in the comments what you would like. Should I just do it myself, take pictures and show you? Or should I come back and do it with you guys? And I want to thank you so much for coming to play. And if you are new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing and clicking the like button or the dislike button, whatever you got to do. And I will see you guys again really soon. Thanks so much. Bye.